right, welcome to the second episode of Phanatics of Philly podcast. Scott Spears.
Great to be back. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yeah. So last week we touched on some of our predictions, and we have our hashtag correct calls from last week. DJ, you want to get us started with those?
Guth, you had Robbie Gould hitting the game winner, which happened against the Bears to get Jimmy G his first win.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And my upset pick was correct in the Jets. Close game, but Jets pulled through at the end. Chiefs are not very good.
Yeah.
They could lose again to Oakland at home this week.
Yeah.
That would probably
Big
knock
game.
them out of the playoffs, just because Oakland and San Diego
That
are.
division's wide open.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that game was that, I mean, you thought if Alex Smith got it going, they would win, but
He did.
He got it going, and they
But
still
then
didn't
the
win.
defense didn't play well.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of problems on
Marcus
that team.
Peters suspended.
Yeah.
For throwing the flag in the stands.
Oh, yeah.
Bonehead play.
Can't have that. And Andy Reid suspended him. I mean, understand that. But
Get Andy out of there. He's ruining Kansas City like he ruined Philadelphia. God,
Yeah.
what is he doing?
Next we have we liked Keenan Allen. He was on our great list last week. And another impressive week. I think 10 catches.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Getting
he's-
lots of targets.
Oh yeah, that's not going to slow down with Rivers playing as he is.
They got the Redskins this week. Should be shadowed by Josh Norman, but
Yeah.
he still will probably have a good game at home.
Yeah.
Next we had on the great list as well was Lynch and Drake. Both had good games, and Watkins and Cup both also had solid games. Watkins and Cup could slow down against the Birds this week.
Yeah.
Great
I think
pass defense.
Watkins had like 30 yards and a touchdown.
Cup had like 60 yards
yeah.
or something.
So both solid games.
Drake had 120 yards
Yeah,
and a
big
touchdown. Lynch, I think he got in the end zone as well.
Mhm.
So they were both. They both played.
And
pretty well.
Lynch looked. What we said last week was Lynch was getting in the end zone, but he wasn't really finding the yardage. And yesterday he proved us
He
wrong
got
with
some
that.
yardage.
Last week he really got that yardage up.
Mhm.
And then we had Stafford on the debate list, and he had a tough game. I mean, he's really banged up. AP did not play, and Mixon obviously went out with a concussion.
Is he playing this week? If
I
not, Gio
think-
Bernard could get a lot of
Yeah,
carries.
'cause they don't really have
he could
anybody
make
else.
the great list too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they don't. Jeremy Hill's out of there.
Yeah, I think
He's
Jeremy
terrible.
Hill opted to have surgery on something, so.
And next we got our Week 14 NFL predictions. Last week, a lot of similar games. We picked a lot of similar winners, and they did not win.
Yeah.
So it was a very shaky week. This week, we actually have a lot of opposites.
Yeah. Starts off tonight.
Thursday night game. Big
Saints
game
Falcons, huge
for the
game.
division.
Yeah.
Could deter. Saints will should clinch with a win. Mark Ingram, toe was questionable, but is expected to play.
It's a big story to
Big
follow.
story. Because I have Kamara in our fantasy league. He could have a great game tonight
Huge
with
day.
Ingram.
And is
And
it
I
right?
play
The person,
Ingram.
Yeah, the person you play has Ingram, so that is huge in our league. I actually have me and DJ are separate here, are opposite here. I have the Falcons 27-24.
And I have the Saints 27-20.
Yeah.
I just think last week Falcons showed against a good defense. They can't really score that well, losing to the Vikings 14-9, and the Saints D has looked okay at times this year. They looked really good earlier in the season, like weeks 3 to 7. I think they were very, very good. So I don't know. Julio hasn't been himself. Devonta Freeman has been injured. I just don't think the Falcons score enough to beat the Saints.
Is Lattimore playing?
I think he is.
He is.
Yes.
That could be big.
They rested him.
My pick is based on just, I mean, this is their last ditch. They need a win in Atlanta. It's kind of why I picked them, but it could go either way. Next we have the Packers and the Browns.
This is probably the worst game of the week. Got Deshaun Kaiser going up against Brett Hundley
Gosh.
in Cleveland. I have the Packers in an absolute crapshoot, 26-21.
Yeah.
Hopefully Adams has a touchdown. We said he was great last week, but
Yeah.
he did not have a good game. That's because Hundley did not have a good game at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, Hundley's got to get back to his form that he showed against the Steelers Sunday night. I have the
How do you
Packers.
throw 4 touchdowns against the Steelers and then throw 0 against the Buccaneers?
Yeah, I mean,
that makes no
Buccaneers
sense.
corners might be the worst in the league.
Vernon Hargreaves.
Doesn't make any sense. I have the Packers winning that one 31-17. So
Big win for the Pack because they could get Rodgers back next week against Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Next game, we got the Colts in Buffalo. Bills kind of lurking for a playoff spot as well. Them and the Ravens will probably battle it out for the last wild card spot. I have the Bills 24-19. I just don't think I think the Bills D is good enough to beat Brissett. I think Gore will have a good game, but Bills D is too good to lose.
My pick is depending on if Tyrod Taylor plays this week. I think if he does not play, which it's kind of up in the air right now, if he doesn't play, I'm taking a big upset in the Colts 21-16.
That'll probably knock the Bills out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I just think the Bills, I mean, with Nathan Peterman at quarterback, if he plays, I don't see how they're going to muster a good game with him at quarterback. But if Tyrod plays, I have the Bills 28-17, and I think if he plays, they're going to have to rely heavily on Shady McCoy against a bad run D in Indianapolis. So
next game, we have Bears and Bengals. Bears coming off a terrible loss against the 49ers at home. Bengals coming off a tough loss at home against the Steelers, where they should have won that game. Lots of brouhahas on the field.
Oh, yeah.
With Juju and Ioka.
Oh, yeah.
One of them getting suspended, one of them getting suspended, and then ended up getting fined and having their suspension reduced.
Yeah.
So I have the Bengals 20-17. I think it'll be closer than people think, just because the Bengals have struggled all year mightily against any team. They're not very good in general. And I know they're fighting for a playoff spot, but they're not good to beat anybody else, but they do beat the Bears this week.
Yeah, the only reason they're fighting for a playoff spot is because of how bad the bottom of the AFC playoff picture is. It's just, oh my gosh.
Awful.
There's going to be a team in there that is just not a playoff team. I also have the Bengals 28-21, so a one-touchdown game. In Cincinnati is mainly the reason why we're going Bengals there.
Raiders at Chiefs at Arrowhead. Alex Smith, we put him on the hate list, and then he erupts for the highest scoring game of his season so far. I think they continue it. I just think the Chiefs are they're getting, even though the Raiders are getting Michael Crabtree back, Amari Cooper's still a little bit injured. Their offense in general is not very good. Marshawn, I think, will have another touchdown, but just because the Chiefs showed so much explosiveness last week against the Jets, I think the Chiefs win 34-24.
Yeah, I also have the Chiefs 31-27.
Will be a high-scoring game, definitely.
Both defenses are just depleted, especially now the Chiefs without Marcus Peters. That'll be a shootout, I think. So
next game, NFC East game, Cowboys at MetLife against the Giants. Giants getting Eli back, but they suck.
Yeah.
They're really bad. So I got the Cowboys 30-17. That puts them one step closer to the Eagles in the NFC East, but it's too far out of reach for them.
Yeah.
They could vie for a wild card spot, but I think Carolina, Atlanta, and Seattle are all better than Dallas. So I think they get the win, but I don't think they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think I think I have them winning 28-20 Cowboys, but I mean a win against the Giants is not much to help your playoff push, but they're in desperation mode. Their season hanging in the balance as of now. They need a win, and I think they get it this week.
If they lose, they're done.
Yeah.
Next game, we got Lions in Tampa Bay against the Buccaneers. We talked about the Bucs defense, how their corners are the worst in the league.
Yeah.
I think Marvin Jones and Golden Tate both have good games. I think Stafford bounces back.
Yeah.
Lions not out of it yet, but going to be tough at 6-6
Very tough
to get in. They probably have to win out, I would say.
Yeah. Run the table.
Yeah.
I think even though last week who was playing the Bucs that we said didn't exploit their corners?
Packers,
yeah, Hundley. But I think that's if Stafford plays, definitely. I think he'll do enough to exploit their depleted secondary, at least depleted. Oh my gosh. I have the Lions 31-24 in that game.
I have the Lions 28-23. Closer than people think. Hopefully Mike Evans gets it going. He has not been good this season.
Yeah.
I relied on him on my fantasy team, but he has not performed that well. Hopefully, has a little bit of a bounce back here.
Yeah. The Bucks they're having a down year, but they're fighting in games. They're not really. Last week they looked like they were going to get blown out, but they made it a game at the end. So I don't see it being a blowout per se. Next game we have the big game here: Vikings and Panthers. Big NFC game.
Eagles need a loss from the Vikings so they can reclaim that
Yeah.
number 1 spot.
Big.
This is partly because I want them to win and partly because I think they're going to win. Panthers have been so up and down this year.
Oh yeah.
On the road in the beginning of the season, they were really good, and now they're not that good, with losses to the Bears badly on the road, and then they almost lost to the Jets on the road. But then when they come back at home, they're not that much better. But they're just so much of an up and down team. I think the Panthers do get the win just because it's important for them that they win to maintain that wild card spot. I think they win in OT 22-16, and that's my upset for the week.
Yeah. I also have the Panthers 24-21. It's kind of like what DJ said. They're such an up and down team. Last week was their down. Who did they lose to again? Last week?
Who?
The Panthers.
I don't think they lost. Oh, they lost to the Saints.
Lost to the Saints. So I think that was their. I mean, that's a good Saints team, but I think this is their up against the Vikings. And then I also picked the Panthers 24-21. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Grand Gano. It's a game winner. A game winner with time expiring in the 4th and wins it. That would be a big win for the Panthers. Yeah.
Next game, we have also a really bad game. Texans at home against the 49ers. 49ers coming off a good win. I don't know if they'll get it done against the Texans just because the Texans' offense is better than the Bears' offense, and they do have a more complete team. So I have the Texans 23-13 in a low-scoring affair.
Yeah, I also have the Texans 20-14. I think we're going to see. I actually really like Jimmy Garoppolo. That was part of the reason I picked them as my upset last week over the Bears. But I think this is kind of the fans will get to see. He's still inexperienced. I mean, a bad defense, but you're gonna see him come down to life here in this one. Next, we have the Jets at the Broncos. Another just crapshoot of a game. Actually, the Jets have not looked that bad.
Yeah,
but I mean,
they're both out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're both maybe trying to fight for a draft position at this point.
Yeah.
So the Broncos, I feel like, are going to start to tank with that quarterback situation. It's obviously horrible. Probably might want to go out and get maybe Rosen or Allen in the draft. Maybe Darnold.
Yeah.
I have the Jets 24-18.
Yeah.
I think McManus might have 6 field goals. That's how bad their offense is.
Yeah.
It has not looked the same since 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I also have the Jets 27-17. I don't think the Jets have much of a problem handling business in this one.
Mm-hmm. Next game we have a pretty interesting game. Titans down in the toaster oven in Arizona against the Cardinals. Cardinals looked not very good against the Rams at home last weekend, but they have beaten the Jaguars at home, and that is why I'm taking them 30-26. I think the Titans are pretty overrated. I think their defense is overrated. And if AP comes back, I think they do win. But if Kerwin Williams looked well.
Looked good.
He looked good against the Rams.
Yeah.
So I think even if he starts, they do get the win. It's going to be a close game. Probably a little bit more high scoring than people think. But I got the Cardinals 30-26.
Yeah. The Titans are definitely, I think, one of the most overrated teams. I have them winning this game 26-21. I don't think it'll be easy.
It's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, it's a toss-up. I mean, both teams. Cardinals are not.
What are they? Cardinals. What are the Cardinals? 5 and something?
Yeah.
5-7 or 5-6?
Yeah.
Or 6-6? One of them.
Yeah, it's a toss-up game.
Mm-hmm. Chargers, who have been hot recently, they play the Redskins at home. I have the Chargers 26-17. Chargers offense, I think, is actually a little bit overrated. They only scored 19 points against the Cleveland Browns last week. I mean, I think Rivers plays well, but he does not play. I don't know really how to say this, but
yeah, 19 points.
19-10. Yeah. He gets a lot of yards, but he doesn't really seem to find the end zone that much.
That's trouble. Yeah.
And Melvin Gordon has not looked good in the past couple of games. I have him 26-17. It's a win against the Redskins. The Redskins are out of the playoffs. Chargers are continuing their role to retake the AFC West lead. But the Chargers offense, maybe against better defenses, maybe we'll falter a little bit. So just look for that upcoming.
I have the Chargers as well, 31-24. Redskins just can't stay healthy. Their O-line has seen so many different
Morgan
people.
Moses has probably gotten injured 20 times.
Oh, so many times. I mean, you got to feel bad for Kirk. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him going forward. Jordan Reed has seen so limited playing time. He can't stay healthy. And, yeah, that's why I'm picking the Chargers in this one.
Next game, we got the Birds in LA at the Coliseum. Will be a close one. Rams favored by 2.5 points. Goff and Gurley coming off a win against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Eagles coming off their second loss of the year to the Seahawks in Seattle. That was a tough game to watch. I think the Eagles do bounce back here. I think they win 30-23. Ertz concerns me a little bit with his concussion, and people are saying this is kind of a must-win for the Eagles. I believe it is and isn't. It is because they need to play well against good defenses if they want to make a playoff run. Because next 3 games, who do they have? They have Giants, Raiders, Cowboys.
Yeah.
So, not a really tough stretch to finish out the year. I think if they beat the Rams in LA, people will start to wake up about the Eagles and not see them as like...
That's where you have the Eagles 30-23.
Yeah.
I have the Eagles as well, 28-24. I think the Eagles realize how, especially Wentz, they realize how much everybody's talking about, they haven't beaten anybody. Mm-hmm. This is the game you go out and you say, okay, we're going to show you we can beat another top team in the NFC. And the Rams, I don't think people notice how bad their run defense has been this year.
Even though with Donald,
I mean,
he only really gets sacks against the run defense. You have it right here, 27th in yards allowed.
27th in yards, yeah. I see a big day for. I
think Ajayi could have a really good game. Yeah. And Clement, I think he might have a touchdown. It's America's Game of the Week on Fox.
Yeah.
So you got Nance and Romo commentating it. Should be a fun one to watch.
That should be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a good one.
Next we have the
another good
Seahawks
game.
and the Jags. Another good game
in Jacksonville. If it was in Seattle, I don't think it'll be as close because the Jacksonville got to travel to the West Coast. They already lost to the Cardinals. Have they played the Rams yet? They've lost to the Rams. They have, and then so they're playing the Seahawks now. Another NFC West opponent. So I think they do fare well against the Seahawks. I think because it's at home, I have them winning 23-21. Fournette will falter a little bit against the Seahawks. He has not looked good in the past couple of games, but I think he has a bounce-back game. I think the Seahawks defense is very, very good. Just because it's in Jacksonville, I'm going to take the Jacksonville.
I mean, KJ Wright is looking like
Bobby
the
Wagner.
Who's the player of the year looking like? Is it Bobby Wagner? Who I don't think he's missed a tackle this year. That's what they said.
Whoever.
Yeah.
Freaking
Collinsworth. Yeah. I mean, at least
he's
gives
not
us
wrong
that
on that
knowledge. Yeah. I actually have the Seahawks winning this one, 28-21. That's mostly just Russell Wilson has looked like
if he has another good game this week, he probably if the Seahawks lose and the Eagles if the Seahawks win and the Eagles lose, I think Russell Wilson could move ahead of Carson in the MVP.
For the MVP, yeah.
Just because playing Jacksonville, tough defense, highest scoring defense in the NFL, will be insane if Russell has a good game.
Yeah,
will be incredible.
Yeah. Next, we have a big rivalry game in Pittsburgh, the Steelers and the Ravens. I have the Steelers winning this one 35-24. Ravens are tough against the pass, and even though it's in Pittsburgh and you just know Big Ben is so much better in Pittsburgh.
He's poised to have a big game at home, especially coming off the Cincinnati game where he didn't play.
I have Le'Veon Bell having actually a good game after good game last week against Cincinnati. I have him continuing his success. So,
I have the Steelers 27-22. We were talking about it with our fellow Ravens fan, John.
Yep.
We were talking about how the Ravens will make it close, even though it's in Pittsburgh. It's a divisional game.
Yeah.
They know the stakes.
Yep.
They're fighting for a playoff spot with Buffalo, so those two games are pretty big.
Yeah.
The Steelers come out with the win just because it's at home.
Mm-hmm.
AB, probably another fantastic game. I don't think
That guy is
Flacco's
just-
not good enough to beat the Pittsburgh D. I think they'll bounce back from the tough last couple of weeks against the Bengals and the Packers.
Yeah, I think, as you said, the Ravens. Well, this will be a good game, I think. I don't think the Steelers blow them out because the Ravens, they mark this game on their schedule every year. They put a big X and say, this is the biggest game of the year. So whenever they play Pittsburgh, they're going to have some fight.
Next, we got the Monday night game, Patriots at Dolphins. I remember one of the last times they played in Miami on a Monday night. Wes Welker had a 99-yard touchdown to make it 38-17, and that is why I'm going with my score.
All right.
38-17.
Okay.
Brady goes off. 4 touchdowns. I have him in my fantasy league. I have a first-round matchup. He needs to have a good game on Monday night.
That's your lock.
That is my lock of the week as well.
As well
I'm
as
going
mine.
heavy Patriots. Looking to continue their win streak heading into Pittsburgh next week. Will be a big game there.
Yep. Yeah, they just keep getting momentum for that Pittsburgh game. This is also my lock. Patriots 41-10 is my pick. I mean, what else that's worse can happen to the Dolphins? Their franchise, they had the issue with the coach, the offensive line coach at the beginning of the year.
They traded Ajayi, arguably their best player on the team,
for a fourth rounder.
For a fourth-round pick. It's complete restart mode.
Yeah.
You got Jay Cutler at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Kenyon Drake has looked good. He probably scores the only touchdown you have him.
Yeah.
I have him scoring a touchdown as well.
And Cody Parkey is their kicker?
Yeah.
So maybe a Cody Parkey field goal for that 10 points. That's our lock, both of us, for the week. Next we're going to get some Eagles talk in. They lost to the Seahawks, as obviously we touched on. Just Wentz looked a little off in that game. Peterson's play call was questionable. The refs were obviously an issue with that. Obviously the
forward pass.
Forward pass, yeah.
You know, as a referee, I know it's tough to call the forward pass, but if you see anything like that, don't the referees talk to the coaches?
Yeah. They've got it. I mean,
they do. They have to be like, you could challenge that if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And Doug's got to know. How do the people upstairs
Doug's gotta know.
not know to challenge that?
Yeah.
That is the game. It was 17-10, 3rd and 9, I believe. Wilson takes off running. He pitches it 2 yards short of the first down marker to get the first down. By the way, Chris Long missed a tackle in the backfield to tackle Russell Wilson.
Yep.
So I believe that's a spot foul, 5-yard penalty, and a loss of down.
4th down, yeah.
So it would be 4th and 7 at their 40-yard line, them punting it away. We get the ball with about 6 minutes left in the game, down 7. Now, the Eagles' offense didn't play that well. I'm not saying they would go down and score right away, but that at least gives us a chance.
Give Wentz the ball.
Like, Peterson, you have to know, and I know that you got a bad call on that other challenge with the spot, but,
that was horrible as well.
That was terrible. That was a bad call.
I don't get how the refs can look at that and look where...
Yeah.
Who
I don't know.
Torrey Smith?
Yeah.
Look where he was on the film, and even
we got on the 4th down anyway. It didn't really matter, but, and then...
that just shows you how the refs were.
Yeah, the PI call on, I believe it was it Darby or was it Corey Graham against Jimmy Graham?
It was over the middle. I think it was Graham. Corey
Graham was playing Jimmy Graham, and Jimmy Graham tripped on his own foot.
Yeah.
And then later in the game, we're down 2 touchdowns. We're just trying to get something going with about 4 minutes left in the game. They chuck it up deep to Torrey Smith, and incidental contact, tripping happens.
Yeah.
They throw the flag, and then they pick it up.
Away. Yeah.
It was the same exact play.
Yeah.
The inconsistency of the refs are terrible. What's that one ESPN this guy's name? Lewis Riddick. He talked about the inconsistency of the penalties to the hits.
Yeah.
Well, they got to talk about the inconsistency of the refs because
it
has been so bad. I remember,
and not just for the Eagles. This is the whole NFL.
Terrible. The Safarian Jenkins thing where he dropped the ball, that cost the Jets a game. They could be 6-6 instead of 5-7 right now.
Yeah.
It's just not good. And besides the refs, Wentz. We talked about Wentz being off. He was wincing after the hit by Clark. He was offsides. Why don't they blow the whistle dead? Blindside him.
I mean, you're risking a hit and a possible injury on
if he's injured,
our future.
If he's injured, that should mean a suspension and a fine for Clark if he's injured on that play.
Yeah. And a little tidbit to touch on. Last week, I mentioned Jimmy Graham and just how much of a red zone threat this guy is. He scored again.
Great throw by Wilson on the back shoulder.
Yep.
Malcolm Jenkins, I think if he was there a step earlier, he reaches out his hands. It's a pick
Maybe
six.
A pick. Yeah.
But great throw by Wilson. Wilson looked really good. Our corners did not look well. Jalen Mills did not play well. We just kind of made Wilson look like, I don't want to say a better quarterback than he is, but we made him look really, really good.
Yeah.
And who did they play last week? The Seahawks. Like somebody. '49ers, right?
Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah, 49ers. They played the 49ers last week.
Yeah.
Wilson, I mean, the Falcons' offense can't even score that much. 24, 31 was a good game. 22. So they're not scoring that much. That's about 24 points per game?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not scoring that much. The Eagles had a chance. Wentz fumbles at the goal line.
Yeah.
So, a bad loss, but we look to get it back at the Rams this week. Need a win.
Yeah.
Need to get to that 11-2 mark. Keep up with the Vikings for the number 1 seed. And the Eagles are actually practicing
how about that?
at Angels Stadium in Anaheim.
Yep.
We've hinted to Trout going to the Phillies a couple of years before. He gets all the game balls when he goes to the games.
Yep.
Is this a sign? Did you see the tweet? They had Mike Trout bobbleheads in the locker room for every single player.
The Eagles Snapchat.
Will Trout come to the Phillies and join Wentz and Joel? Imagine that trio right there.
That would amazing. Yeah, that would be
unbelievable.
Awesome. So we touched on the Eagles-Rams game. Ertz is a big question mark if he can go. That would be a big difference maker.
Walker coming back.
Yeah.
I know Walker has not been seen as a good player, but I would rather have him than Ellerbe and Najee Good rotating because I think Walker has proven himself over the past couple of games because he's not done bad. You can't really say he's done bad. He knows the system.
He knows the system
because he's
better
been the
than
backup
Ellerbe.
to Jordan Hicks
for
a year, maybe 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he's coming to
fruition.
Coming to fruition there.
It's gonna be a tough game to stop Gurley and Goff. That'll be interesting to see. We touched on that earlier.
Who's your big game? Who has a big game and why?
I'm gonna say, as I said earlier, the run game.
Mm-hmm.
I say I'm not gonna pick one guy specifically, but I say the run game has a big day against.
How many touchdowns?
I'm gonna say 3 for the run game.
3 touchdowns. Any receiving or all rushing?
I'm gonna say 1 receiving touchdown. Maybe if Ertz plays if he doesn't, probably maybe Jeffrey coming off a slow game. Aguilar coming off a big game.
Yeah.
So I think he probably slows down realistically. But how about you, PJ?
I actually have the Eagles secondary having a big game. Did not have a good game last week. Allowed the big plays to Baldwin and Richardson. You got Sammy Coates, who's a very big play threat. I think we should have Mills sort of not really shadowing him, but
Watkins.
Yeah, Watkins. Should be shadowed by Mills. Jenkins has the help over top. I think we should cover that well. I don't think Cooper Kupp should get open that much. Not without Robert Woods. They're depleted at wide receiver. Jared Goff has thrown 5 of his 6 interceptions at home this year. Eagles D did not have a turnover last weekend. Looking for a turnover this weekend. We'll get one, possibly a pick 6 in the Coliseum.
They're going to want to do it for their quarterback because you're going to be hearing the Goff-Wentz comparisons all week. We've been hearing it all week, and the defenses, they know that. They want to step up for their quarterback, show that he is the better of that rookie class.
Next, we have some Sixer talk. They played tonight against the Lakers on TNT.
Yeah, should be interesting.
Probably need a win. Lonzo not looked good the entire year. LeVar Ball pulls his brother out of UCLA. That whole family is an absolute mess.
Yeah.
But they need a win tonight on TNT. Joel and Simmons, they were a little bit faulty last couple games, but I think they will bounce back against Lonzo tonight just because it's against Lonzo.
Yeah.
Before the Lakers game, they had that really bad loss to the Suns.
Yeah.
Suns
Booker
Suns
was
at
just unbelievable.
8-16 team. even though with Booker, who is actually out for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yep, that's big for them.
Big for them because they will probably lose every single game because Booker's their whole team. He had 46 points against the Sixers.
He looked like he couldn't miss in that last couple minutes. I mean, he was.
If he was on a better team, he could be the MVP of the NBA.
I mean, this guy is just. I remember him at Kentucky. I've always liked him since he came from Kentucky.
Yeah, my dad.
He's got a smooth shooting form. He's definitely someone to look to going forward.
After the Lakers, they travel to Cleveland, and then 2 games after that, they travel to Minnesota. So they have the tough road stretch. Got to play Jimmy Butler and Wiggins in Minnesota and LeBron in Cleveland. If we can win one of those 2 games, that would be big, just to show that we can win against good teams in the East. When is Fultz being reevaluated?
I think the Sixers said they would give out a little update today or tomorrow, sometime soon, about Fultz.
Shoulder, obviously an issue. Can't shoot for his life. You just got to work back to it. He's a rookie. He's young. You just got to progress with him.
I mean,
very slowly.
I think you got to think his shooting. He didn't just become a bad shooter because he was a good shooter in college. It's got to be something with the injury. So, I mean, you hope to have him back pretty soon. And Minnesota, I think, is a lot of people compare them to the Sixers on a young team, and a lot of people say which team has the better future. That's a big game to prove the Sixers. The process has a better future than the Timberwolves.
Next, we got Joel Embiid at the Sports Illustrated Awards.
Ceremony.
You saw the ceremony. You saw the picture with Jose Altuve and J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Very good squad there. I believe he got an award for something.
Yeah.
It was like either comeback player
something like that.
All around, like it just sort of a comeback thing. Yeah. So good for Joel.
It's crazy how I don't think there's many people who can make J.J. Watt look like a small guy. And obviously Altuve is way down there.
Altuve looked like freaking Frodo.
like a 2-year-old next to Embiid and J.J. Watt. But that was a funny picture.
And then finally we have LeBron to Philly. He
question mark.
Yeah, the question mark. They talked about it on numerous sports shows, including First Things First.
Yep.
About how
Chris Broussard talked about it.
He possibly could come to Philly if he did not want to go west. Had the game in Philly.
Yep.
Liked the crowd. He was laughing with Joel Embiid after he hit a 3 on Embiid to possibly seal the game away. I don't know if that was jokingly or if it was just like suck it.
It was pretty fun to see.
It was good to watch.
Yeah.
It was good to watch. And if LeBron came to Philly, him and Simmons together could be absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and then we go on to the Flyers. After a miserable stretch, they have finally picked it up.
2 straight.
2 in a row.
Against Calgary and Edmonton, both on the road.
Yeah.
So both in Canada. Maybe they got a little Canada spark going.
Yeah. I heard a stat. I actually watched the last few minutes. I heard a stat that was the first time the Flyers have won 2 in a row on the road since last January. So that is just, I mean,
They're
crazy.
despicable.
Yeah. They play tonight, actually,
they have lots of injuries.
Vancouver.
Voracek shaved his beard.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the key.
Superstition, yeah. Maybe they get another Canada win in Vancouver
tonight.
Yeah.
So that's we'll keep an eye on that next week. Finally, we got Nova, bringing in Nova to the topic of conversation in the podcast. They had a good win against Gonzaga in the Jimmy V Classic.
Yep.
Mikal Bridges emerging as a star. He actually played at Garnet Valley in high school, who played against my old school. I remember they used to put him up top on the 1-3-1, and he would get steals and throw down windmills against our guys. They had had absolutely no chance. Bridges, Spellman, DiVincenzo, all good guys. So, I mean, they got a good team going there. The 1 seed in Joe Lunardi's bracketology.
Yeah.
I mean, they look good going forward.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us for our second podcast, and have a good day. We'll see you next week.